Wow, welcome to game 2 of the series. This game is going to be again Paul, King Paul, just a throne Barton against former King Captain Price, here to hopefully reclaim his throne. Captain Price showing us his classic bazooka flamethrower blob, and it was too much for Paul to handle. Made some micro mistakes with his initially with his flag half track and then with his King Tiger there towards the end, costing him his harder hitting units with which to counter that blob, and ultimately costing him the game. Couldn't quite hold on to territory, really struggling to engage on the right side of the map for buildings. So VPs just ran out, and he lost some critical engagements, and that was game 1. We're now making our way into game 2, where the factions have been switched, and we saw Western Front armies last game. We're now going to see Eastern Front armies in game 2, Paul's Soviets versus Captain Price's Ostheer. Paul playing mechanized support, guard motor coordination, and armored assault into Captain Price's Lightning War, close air support, and Jaeger armor. We're going to see Captain Price making a play for the left side with the 2 Grenadier opening, while Pios cap what territory they can on the right. And Paul going with a conscript heavy opening, sending both of his squads to the right side initially, while his combat engineers go left. So they're both mirroring each other a little bit here, sending their squads to engage in the terrain where they're most likely to succeed. Grenadiers having an advantage in the urban area on the right, Grenadiers having an advantage in the open area on the left, so pretty logical opening from both of them. They'll both easily be able to push away their opponent's engineering squad at the beginning of the game. No real difficulty there. You can see a slight difference in their capping orders. Captain Price going straight for the strategic points, whereas Paul sending his conscripts for the fuel and victory points first. Worrying about the... Or no, he actually skips past the victory point to try and chase away the Pios over here. First engagement's going to be between these 2 squads. Pios will take up a position inside of the house. Conscripts dealing minor damage to those Pios for now while they take control of the strategic point. Third squad of conscripts is going to go left to see if it can make anything happen against these Grens. Paul is going to jump inside this little shed thing with his combat engineers for now, just so that they can try and stall and provide vision without taking too much damage. While conscripts move up from the flank. Conscripts grab the munitions over there, and Pios leave this building, enter a slightly different building. Conscripts are now moving across the left side to try and take control of Price's cutoff while he tries to reinforce this engagement. Superior numbers here from Price will win him this engagement at this range easily. Paul just going to stall for a little while, try and open up an opportunity for his conscripts to take this cutoff. Grenadiers might win this engagement if those conscripts don't turn on them soon. They have already dropped a model. The Grenadiers are not inside the capture circle. There they go. The fact that they just had to move, reposition, probably cost them this engagement, but Pios are moving to support, and the cutoff remains in Price's control. Paul will be forced away here. On the right side, a fresh squad of conscripts is moving to support, and Paul has gone tier 1 flamethrower upgrading in this already pretty quick flamethrower. If it goes straight for the cutoff, it should be able to take it. There are no Grenadiers available to screen over there at this time, but instead of doing that, he's going to move to engage this squad of Grenadiers. He's caught it alone, so he should be able to get out and repair immediately before another Panzerfaust arrives to support in this engagement, I think. He may have to kite for a little while. Conscripts are available to screen. M3 needs to pull back to safety. Flamethrower moves forward to engage. Price will lose that engagement. Crossing red cover to try and get that Faust off. I really don't think it's going to happen, though. There they go. M3 should be able to receive some repairs. The right side cutoff is going to get taken by Price's Pios. The left side cutoff is going to get taken by Paul's conscripts. So both of them cut off from their resources right now. Very low income game. 7 or 10 fuel coming in for both of them. Price just happens to have more strategic points under his control next to his base. Chaotic opening. So many flashing territories. Conscripts have to retreat away from Price's cutoff first. Conscripts force Pios into a building on the south cutoff. Should be able to get control of that back. Surprised Paul has not gone with Molotovs yet. to force his opponent from buildings, but he does have the flamethrower, so he has at least some solution. And he has purchased a field infirmary, and these piles threaten getting wiped on retreat, depending on exactly how Paul maneuvers his M3. Circling the building, those piles should probably be able to get away, but he's going to try and hover inside their retreat path. It looks like he caught them. Engagement over here. We'll see conscripts being forced to retreat, and the M3 struggling to keep up, will not be able to wipe the Pios. Diving straight into those Grenadiers. He gets the flamethrower out so they can continue engaging. M3 pulls back a little bit. No Faust from Price though. Maybe he wasn't even paying attention to that engagement. He retreats a little late. He had the munitions for a Faust but chose not to utilize one. Conscripts moving left. Pios harassing right. Fuel income currently in Paul's favor. Uh-oh, there's a Panzerfaust. I think that might go down. He does round the corner though. Run, little M3! He's trying to squeeze through this tiny gap. I don't think he's gonna make it. Price doesn't have the munitions. Oh, yes, he does. There it is. And it's dead. M3 soaked up a lot of Price's munitions, though. I mean, even though it does go down, he bled a lot of manpower in those engagements, and he had to sacrifice the ability to get an LMG and a half. 3 Panzerfausts fired on that M3. I would say it drained Price's economy pretty well. He's up against close air support, apparently. Price going to go with close air support. That's going to be on this map. I don't know. It could prove difficult against Paul's guard motor coordination. We'll see what happens. Paul's going to need to try to contain Price in his base early and hard to shut down his economy. If he can shut down his fuel economy, he will also be shutting down his munitions economy simultaneously, but it may prove difficult as Price starts massing flamethrowers and LMGs. He's gone 4 Grenadiers, 4 Pios. He's going to be very powerful in both urban and open areas with those flamethrowers and LMGs at his disposal. Paul may end up doing the same thing, fielding guards with their LMGs and at least 1 flamethrower squad. He may consider getting more.
It is now under our control.
PTRS engaging Grenadiers on the left side. Flamethrower just completed on that Pio squad. DP machine gun still in progress on these guards, but the PTRSs are sniping a couple models. Looks like he lost that engagement. PTRS snipes another one before retreating. Pretty good trade though. He killed a lot of models right there. DP machine gun just finished. He's going to be well on his way to Vet 1 after that engagement. Over on the right side, Paul needs to chase away some flamethrower Pios. They have green cover. He may want to flank around the right side or just disengage for now, making his way back towards this building. Conscripts on the left side working on the munitions. This is just such a scattered map. They're both struggling to deal with what their opponent is doing as far as territory. Paul making another play for Price's cutoff on the left, and Price is also cut off on the right. Paul looks like he has a generally stronger economy right now. A lot of fuel and munitions coming in. Price struggling for both. Cut off on both sides of the map. Grenadiers will force away Paul's lone capping squad here on the left side, while the fuel point gets taken. Conscripts working on this strategic cutoff. Forced into green cover. Will probably be forced to retreat very soon by dual flamethrowers, moving into close range. Still no Molotov research from Paul. When there's this many side engagements happening, Molotovs can be a really great investment in munitions. Kind of surprised by that. I'm not sure he's monitoring this engagement. He realizes what's happening a little late, but he should be able to save his squad. He's fielded a fresh M3 to the left side. Kind of risky. Those guards over there. The Grenadiers over there. I doubt his second M3 is going to do a lot better than his first. Against close air support. He'll have no problem Fausting that thing to death. Paul going to try and kite those Grenadiers to the best of his ability on the left side while managing engagements on the right. Needs to get the fuel and munitions under control over here. Guards inside of this M3. will convince Price to utilize another Panzerfaust. M3 needs to pull back to safety. I feel like Paul is literally using this just to soak up Panzerfaust fire. Just to drain Price's munitions, but I don't know if that's really very cost effective. I mean, the unit is cheap, but Price has a lot of munitions at his disposal. If Paul can keep up the economic pressure here and continue to cut Price off, then every time he fausts like that could be extremely costly. But he lost that M3 after absorbing only one Panzerfaust, and he's not going to be successful in cutting Price off for some time here, having lost control of the entire right side, except for the 2 resource points. Wow, and Price just made a huge retreat completely off the map from all areas to get his bearings, reinforce, and heal. And Paul will have another opportunity to get map control back. All territories here by Paul's base are flashing. Territories on the left also flashing. This game is proving difficult for even me to keep track of, and I'm just a third-party observer. But it will become much easier. Both of them, now that Price has collected all of his forces in the base for healing by this medic bunker. Paul slowly taking some territory here, grabbing the strategic point and victory points. Combat engineers moving for the munitions in the back, and guards moving into cover over here. Conscripts will be spotted by Price's grenadiers and Pios. Price still hasn't managed to get full upgrades on all of his infantry yet because of his requirement to use lots of Panzerfausts and rifle grenades. Flamethrower chased away there on the right side. Conscripts on the left getting forced away by flamethrower fire. 4 flamethrowers appears to be just the right amount. Two fielded to each side. Seems to be doing quite well for Price. These 2 are going to pull back when they see these 2 squads of conscripts advancing. This squad of combat engineers might want to consider a demo charge at some point, because Price has no minesweeper. Or just a bunch of mines. Just spam mines everywhere. Probably also be a helpful measure. He's spending all of his munitions thus far on DP machine guns, I think, and a flamethrower, and possibly a new flamethrower soon. I haven't seen any defenses planted. Conscripts in green cover need to not be standing in green cover. Taking heavy damage from those flamethrowers, will be forced to retreat. Grenadiers probably would have won that engagement anyway. Price just has superior numbers, just has so much stuff. And Paul is going to cluster his troops a little bit here. Engaging a flamethrower in the building, he should win that easily. Wow. Very close to losing that squad. Flamethrower trying to circle around the north flank or just jump inside this house, while conscripts and guards close the distance. Grenade will flush those grenadiers out of cover. And Price is done upgrading all of his infantry squads except for this one. Which means he's soon going to start being able to utilize the anti-infantry strafe, and then Paul will probably struggle from there. No tier 2 units from Price yet. And he's losing this engagement against those massed LMG grenadiers. Needs to heal and reinforce and think carefully about his next engagement. It's 4 LMG Grens and 4 flamethrower piles against 1 flamethrower, 3 conscripts, 2 guards. So clearly, Paul is outgunned. He's got some options though. He's floating a little bit of extra manpower. He's still ways off from his call-in tanks. He's going to throw up tier 2 next. Might consider a Maximer mortar. Might consider the heavy mortar. I guess we'll see what he wants to do. He is going to continue to spread his forces a little bit, trying to maintain map control against his opponent where possible. He will at least cut Price off from the left, even if he isn't able to hold either fuel point for himself.
The enemy is encroaching on our territory.
Conscripts are in red cover against the Grenadiers in this house. I don't see that engagement going well for Paul. Needs to get out of that road. Pios may or may not win an engagement against those combat engineers. Guards moving up to assist in the engagement. Oh, that could be a wipe. That was close. Pios get away very narrowly. Price continues to hold the entire right side, wrapping up the last strategic point with this Pio squad. A couple of Paul's squads being forced to retreat back to base, and Price is going to start AT gun production to defend himself against the Collins, which are probably on their way now. He's gone tier 2, throwing both of those out. May consider a Panzer Grenadier squad in the future for Panzer Shreks as well. Pretty standard stuff for close air support. Seems to be working very well against what Paul is attempting. Having dropped those 50 fuel on a tier 2 structure. And a tier 1 structure. I forgot about the tier 1. Means that, I don't know. It's going to be rough for Paul. I'm kind of surprised he built this, honestly. That's going to delay his Collins a lot, and Price is not going to make a tank. For a while, at least. He hasn't used redistribute resources in some time, though. So he might start transitioning to tier 4 next.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
Meanwhile, Paul has fielded a heavy mortar to his cutoff, trying to get this victory point back under control. Heavy mortar setting up. If it gets a beautiful shot off, it could help him with this engagement, but he can't win it no matter what happens. Heavy mortar doesn't even try. Retreats immediately on site. Oh! Wow, that was a miracle hit, though. That was perfect. He just needs that to happen 10 to 15 more times this game. What was that? 5 kills. He almost got Vet 1 with 1 mortar. 1 mortar. Paul throws up a green cover position right here. Jumps some guards behind it. The other squad of guards into the building, maybe? Yep, jumping into the building there. The flamethrower piles are a little low. Heavy mortar bombarding the grenadiers in their cover position, and Paul should win this engagement over time. Although it'll take a little while. Paul has access to his Collins, but he cannot bring them in for another 60 fuel. Gonna take about 4 minutes at his current income. Grenade tossed on those guards. They dodge it by getting in this shed. They leave the building, start making their way towards the right side. Heavy mortar hits the telephone pole.
This now belongs to the people and workers of the
Conscripts move to take control of the right side. Price needs to think carefully about how to manage that heavy mortar. As long as Paul hops from green cover position to green cover position, he should be able to win long-range engagements between infantry because he has the mortar to flush his opponent out of cover. Price doesn't really have an equivalent other than his doctrinal abilities and rifle grenades. Lone squad of grenadiers on the left will retreat, and Price is going with 3 AT guns at this point. I almost wonder if it would be more efficient for Paul to just spam heavy mortars instead of go for Collins. I feel like if he just got 2 more heavy mortars, he'd be in a really strong position, but Price is going to go tier 4 eventually. I don't know, something to think about. You have to take your knowledge of your opponent into account in these tournament games. It really helps to know exactly what Price is probably doing right now. Highly likely that there's a giant quantity of AT guns in production. We know that he goes tier 4, but he also takes an extraordinarily long time to do it, so I feel like Paul going for Collins is a mistake. Nice wipe over here on the right side. Flamethrower goes down to guards, I think. That squad now has 2 flamethrowers. Paul getting back full control of the left side. 2 squads of grenadiers moving to counter, though. He does have control of the cutoff. Flamethrowers moving to counter. And I know Paul's going to go T-34-85s, but I wish he wouldn't. I don't think it's going to work very well. At least field 1 more heavy mortar, Paul. You know it's going to do good work.
Enemy forces are neutralizing a sector. We are bleeding, comrade. Fire incoming. Taking the sector is at risk.
Squad of conscripts gets wiped over there on the right side. Guards are going to retreat. This could be an opportunity here. Maybe not. On that demo charge. Heavy mortar a little bit off target. Collins very soon.
Capturing our supplies.
Grenadiers moving for the strategic point over there on the right side. These two squads moving left. Grenadiers set up to counter. Combat engineers with flamethrowers closing into short range. I'm wondering if Paul... Well, never mind. I was going to say, I'm wondering if Paul is thinking about maybe getting some extra flamethrowers to help against his opponent's massed infantry, but he threw a minesweeper on this squad and clearly doesn't seem to intend to spend his manpower on anything other than this particular composition. 2 of each squad, plus 1 heavy mortar. He has enough for another heavy mortar even after getting the call-ins. I feel like it would help a lot. I really
The
do.
enemy has taken our supply sector. We are in contact.
Conscripts on the cutoff. Need to retreat. Huge crits. T-34s are available here to screen. Conscripts get away just barely, and Price's AT guns will be set in motion. Don't charge the base. Oh my god, there's so many teller mines. Oh, Paul, be careful. He's so prepared for this. He is so prepared. Oh, pull back. Fortunately, T-34-85s have a massive amount of health to work with, and they'll be able to pull back to safety. He's kind of lucky almost that that teller mine got detonated by his own main gunfire. I don't know if it would have hit that one or not. Look at this, though. Charging aggressively for Price's base is suicide, clearly. Hopefully Paul will utilize those tanks just to secure victory points and map control, because they're certainly not going to be able to make any decisive game-changing maneuvers. Flamethrower popped over here on the right side. That was kind of a lucky break for Paul.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Heavy mortar continues bombarding whatever it can get a shot on. It's a little exposed without any infantry screen, though. 5 kills. Just hit Vet once, so he's got precision strike now against the anti-tank gun blobs. Pio squad on the right side has to retreat, and the left side seems to be going towards guards. Minesweeper here from Paul to sweep up demos, or from Price, I mean.
We are losing a sector.
2 combat engineering squads are going to start repairing tanks in this area. Price's AT guns are on the move. Conscripts available to provide a minor infantry screen, but not much of anything else. T-34s can only expose themselves for just a split second. Oh man. Does not take engine damage. AT guns moving to engage. Oh, pull back, Paul. Oh my god, the damage. He rounds the corner. I think he might lose this though. If Captain Price gets a really nice attack ground volley through the hedge. Doesn't look like he's going to. Recon pass. Nice use of recon pass. AT guns too far away, I think. And there's an infantry screen right there as well. I think that T-34 will make it to safety. Anti-infantry strafe coming in on the left side to force a full retreat from these 2 squads. But no anti-tank strafe on the T-34. Doesn't quite have the munitions to support that, so his tank will get away clean this time. I don't know how many more times Paul's going to get lucky, though. He needs to be very careful about maintaining vision of Price's AT guns so that he doesn't expose himself to too much harm. And Paul is floating manpower like a fiend. I don't know why he wouldn't get a second heavy mortar or just more infantry or something. Some sort of counter to what his opponent is doing. Even maybe... the last time I played against Paul, I wasn't using close air support, but the last time I played against Paul, he fielded 2 Soviet standard mortars in addition to his heavy mortar. So he had 1 heavy mortar and 2 normal mortars. And that worked wonders against my blobs. Everybody knows I like to blob. So 2 standard Soviet mortars might get the job done too. The heavy mortar is 10 pop cap. The Soviet standard mortar is God damn it. 6. So for only 2 pop cap more, you can get 2 decent mortars instead of 1 super duper mega mortar. Something to consider. Pretty pop cap efficient if you really want to saturate the map with mortar fire and you're floating like crazy. Ouch. Retreat. I can't believe that's getting away. He gets lucky right there. Survives by a hair. AT guns looking for an opportunity, may not find one though. Grenadiers and conscripts continue to hold this strategic point over here. Paul having tanks is definitely a significant advantage. Price is not going to have tanks of his own for a little while. He has gone battle phase 4. He will be able to throw up the tier 4 structure now, or battle phase 3, whatever. Tier 4 structure in production. Manpower is his biggest concern, and just production queues until his Panther hits the field. And the Panther is pretty much similar to a T-3485 as far as ability to take one on. 2 T-3485s will probably beat a Panther, and 2 Panthers will probably beat a T-3485. 2 Panthers should have the advantage though. We'll come down a little bit to RNG. But Paul has marked vehicle. He has BTRSs, I guess. He's starting to make a field gun of his own. That makes sense. It's getting to be that time. It's 26 minutes into the game. Even though Price is close air support, he's gonna get tanks. Paul working the left side, getting most of it under control. Victory points are in Price's favor, but it's really still anybody's game. This game still has legs. Definitely still has legs. T-34s working the left side. Price sending most of his forces in this direction. These 2 squads moving to take control of the munitions. T-34s moving to counter any harassment of the right. We're going to see more defenses planted by Paul over here. More cover thrown down as well, so we can try and hold this area should Price attack. Price is dedicating all of his attention to an engagement to the left side. Flushes those conscripts out of their cover with a rifle grenade. And T-34s are making their way forward to engage. He's got to know those AT guns are here though. He needs to be very careful. Full volley. Paul's trying to reverse to safety. Gets a little bit stuck, but he will get away very narrowly. Price has a bit of an opportunity to anti-tank strafe, but he's going to drop all the munitions on an anti-infantry strafe instead, push away all of the guards over here. Paul will retreat, and Captain Price will get full control of the left side, fuel and victory point, and he still holds the right as well. I wonder why those guards just retreated. I guess Paul feels that he needs them in the engagement. Heavy mortar bombarding, doesn't really hit anything. And again, I feel that Paul could be very well served by a heavy saturation of indirect fire, since his long-range damage potential is not nearly Captain Price's. Indirect fire would be a really good solution, since clearly he's not able to get tanks in range. A second heavy mortar, a couple tier mortars from his tier 2, maybe even high explosive barrage from his AT gun could help. But I don't know. He's clearly struggling to maintain map control. For most of this game, Price has had Paul double capped. Paul has only managed to double cap Price for 134 victory points. Continues to slowly just fall behind. If Paul attempts to overwhelm Price with T-3485 spam, I think he's really going to struggle. Because 3 AT guns and a Panther is a lot to take on, and I think Panther production will only continue from this point forward. Price has a very pop-cap efficient army. Just Grenadiers and Pyos. Nothing that takes up very much pop-cap. The AT guns are probably the most pop-cap. Yeah, 9 pop-cap for each one of those, and then 16 for the Panthers from this point forward. Paul needs to think about where to position his heavy mortars most effectively for these engagements. Possibly try and make good use of precision strike where applicable to wipe team weapons or full squads. Panther on the field making its way left. Conscripts and guards moving to take control of that territory, and Paul has a field gun of his own set up right here, but he needs to screen his team weapons with more infantry. He leaves them really vulnerable to just being walked up and killed by Grenadiers with LMGs. 2 T-34s heading straight right to kill that squad of Pyos. I think Price thinks that's going to happen and is moving to counter with his Panther. Conscripts will screen that Panther away as they reveal themselves. Lots of infantry moving on the flank. The AT guns crossing in this area. Going to pull those back though. He wants to be careful, wants to be patient. Over here on the left side, fresh minesweeper fielded by Paul. His old minesweeper got wiped by something. T-34 is nicely positioned for an engagement here against the Grenadiers. They're gonna pull back to safety a little. AT guns moving up. We'll probably get a volley off. There's engine damage, but he's nicely placed behind this shed, and there's a conscript screen right there. Anti-tank guns may be a little exposed to danger. There's a big volley connecting with this T-34. It's damaged. The Panther's gonna chase it down. I think this one's gonna go down. AT guns moving up to support in the engagement. Oh, that T-34 cannot flank that Panther right now. This one should have kept moving to at least force those AT guns to overextend if possible. They're struggling to get in range. I don't know. Paul might be able to get away if he could just stop getting stuck and keep moving. Panther moves up for the critical shot. There it is. One down. Just needs one more. He flanks around behind the AT gun. AT gun actually snipes the T-34 from range. And Paul just does not have the impact he needs with those T-34s in the least. Conscript squad also gets wiped. Guard squad also gets wiped. Rifle grenade trying to clear the field gun. Can't even get off one more shot, and Paul has been reduced to almost nothing left. He's floating resources like crazy here. That demo charge probably almost could have killed the Panther. Paul's waiting for this call in, but again, he's about a minute and a half away from that arriving to the field. Guards moving up into close range to see if they can accomplish anything. I don't know why Paul would not spend his resources. 2 AT guns cleared. Bet 3 guards continue their rampage. Now that Paul has destroyed potentially this one, may be able to steal this one here in the back. That Panther may be in significant danger. Most of Price's infantry is not available to support. Big hit from the heavy mortar forces that retreat. What is Paul doing with his resources? What is he thinking here? Where's the first squad of guards? Where are the extra conscripts, extra infantry? Get some stuff on the field. I don't get it.
We are losing a sector.
Paul, please. If you really insist on spamming only tanks, at least build fuel caches with your float. Nice play to steal one AT gun and destroy the other. That's a pretty significant manpower setback for Price. Clearly, Paul has no manpower concerns at all. Scott Price triple capped. I feel like he might be a little frustrated, not know what to do. I'm not sure. Fields, okay, there we go. Fresh squad of guards, fresh set of T-34s, and even after both of those call-ins, he still has 400 manpower to spare for whatever luxury items he may desire. Heavy mortar continues pounding away at Price's infantry. Price is going to have the resources for a second Panther soon, but he has to spend most of his manpower on fresh AT guns for now. And Paul is going to send the bulk of his forces to the right side. Panzerfaust connects with that. Ooh, anti-tank straight from Price. I think that was overzealous. He doesn't have anything here to follow up, and it's completely off target. Panther has been repaired and is moving in, but the Panzerfaust there just bounced. Paul has his own anti-tank gun screen this time, and that Panther will be forced back. So Paul is very prepared for that push. Meanwhile, Price is going to take control of the entire left, though. Paul has no forces over here, and it's falling back into Price's control. Grenadiers engaging this... Ooh, he should have recovered his weapon before retreating right there. T-34 has no health. Why would it expose itself? Oh, he has vision. Marked vehicle on the Panther is completely giving vision of these AT guns, so he actually knows full well that he can engage those Grenadiers safely. Paul has been maintaining a constant float this game. I really don't get it. I definitely think a second heavy mortar. He could have afforded a second heavy mortar for the last 15 minutes, I think. I think that would have been easily sustainable. Or just a normal mortar, something. AT guns moving to counter. Make sure they don't get chased to death by that T-34. Although they're really overextending. They're about to be exposed to flamethrower fire. They need to pull back to safety. T-34 should probably not sit there in their vision, though. He's going to take a huge volley. That might go down if he doesn't pull back. Oh, no! Paul just needs to screen with infantry better. Jeez. Price's AT gun positioning. Again, every series we see this, just so brutal. He always just shows up when you least expect him and kills your vehicle, and then pulls back into the safety of his base. It's gotta be infuriating. Paul continues to float, though. Continues to float. He's got 2 AT guns of his own, only one of which he actually purchased, though. I feel like that he's got options, though. He has manpower options. I think another mortar of whatever kind. Even more guards. Just make some stuff. Just make stuff, Paul. It doesn't have to be T-34s from now till the hour-and-a-half-minute mark. Price shouldn't have stuck around in that engagement so long. Oh, those grenadiers. Wow, are they really going to get away? Barely. 2 Panthers from Price. This AT gun's not going to last long to those top-mount machine guns. It has barely any health remaining. There it goes. Wiped. Field gun slightly more defensively placed. Puts a little pressure on that one. Combat engineers recrew. T-34 is not assisting in the engagement. AT guns just taking heavy damage. There we go. T-34 gets a shot off. Anti-tank gun gets a shot off. Price looks like he doesn't want to keep this engagement going. We'll pull back. Only one of these has a top-mount machine gun. This one will soon. Price currently taking control of the entire right side with his infantry. Paul having most of his forces occupied in the base or on the left side.
We've added to the fatherland. We have a full complement. Stukas ready for strafing mission. Enemies firing on us! Territory secure! Enemy forces are securing our territory. They die for their fatherland!
Grenadiers taking heavy damage at range from conscripts and guards. AT gun screen. Catches that. Oh no! One more shot! Barely gets to safety. Barely gets to safety. Paul does not have a whole lot of time to react to those AT gun shots, and he needs to be a little bit more finessed in his movements with his tanks. He will continue to have victory point lead, though. Surprisingly enough, despite how much he seems to be struggling in engagements, he's not engaging that cost and effectively. Always seeming to maintain a manpower lead. And always seeming to have the victory points. He's actually going to pull ahead of Price, who had a huge lead over him quite soon. Price has stopped paying attention to victory points and focusing more and more on at the annihilation victory, so to speak. This may be an over-aggressive push by Price. I don't really think this is going to work. Panther diving straight into the base. There's an AT gun right there. That Panther's falling low. This Panther unlikely to kill the T-34-85. Conscripts in the back need to be monitored during this engagement. Oh no, Stuka dive bomb on the AT gun, I think. Oh, there it goes. Paul did not make any attempt to dodge that, and he loses his stolen pack. Flamethrowers in the back wipe his conscripts and possibly his guards. Run! That's 2 wipes. T-34 nicely placed on the Panther's flank, but it's taking huge damage. Panther moving behind. Paul cannot field another set of T-34s. This is possibly the game. He has no solution to this thing except for a field gun. Oh, with the button! Oh, he buttons it and the Panther shot goes wide. Field gun can't finish the job though. T-34 getting overly aggressive. Panther cannot get the shot off. Field gun not able to get the shot off. And they both disengage with a tiny amount of health remaining. Oh, the heavy mortar Shot connects with the pack right there. Is the game over? What's happening? Oh no, did I disconnect from Relic servers again? This will be the second time this happened. This is terrible timing for this. Ah! Seriously? It's 40 minutes into the game! 200 to 294, come on! Okay, I need to figure out why this... Son of a bitch.